Okay. So this is the scenario, right?
विकी सर,
Yeah. Say.
जब तक शुरू होता सर, जब तक उस प्रोग्राम के बारे में कुछ बताते रहो, थोड़ा अच्छा लगेगा प्रोग्राम.
Yeah, of course, I'm telling you. Okay, let me. So this is the how they start. Okay, actually, the welcome note will be given by someone else. Okay, Saddam Da, I'm waiting for Saddam Da. Okay, Saddam sir will join recently. Okay, and very shortly. Waiting for him. So it's all about the researchers meet, particularly. Okay, communication and researchers meet. We have a very this a good motto we have, and why we are conducting this seminar and this webinar. Why? So it has a motto, it has an objective, and that will be revealed by Saddam sir very shortly. I hope you will enjoy the session, all of you. Please keep patience. Okay, the program will go from 6 to 8 p.m. So don't leave. We will have very interactive sessions at the end of each speaker. We will try to take the questions. Yeah, but at the end of the session, okay, not okay, from the beginning. It will be very distracting that if just commenting, okay, and asking questions. All of you, I'm telling you, please keep in your mind. Otherwise, it will be distracting for the speakers and the resource persons. So try not to comment from the very beginning. Try listen to all the lecture, the series of lectures that we will have recently. Yeah. We will start the session very shortly. Okay, yeah. Yes, Saddam sir, welcome back. Yes. We have right now 24 participants. Yeah, 24 participants right now. So shall we wait or we will start?
I think we have to, we should start right now, no?
Yeah, we will start. Wait for 5 minutes more, I think. Okay, I think people will join. Okay.
Okay. Assalamualaikum, Miraj Mubarak sir.
Hello. Saddam sir, are you saying something?
Miraj sir, বোধহয় মিউট করা আছে।
Yes. All the participants are requested to please mute your audio.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. so that we will not have any disturbance while the speakers are going on with their series of lectures.
Yes, I can hear you, Saddam.
Yeah. Welcome back to this channel. Yeah. This meet, International Communication Research Meet, welcomes you here in this webinar. I hope you will enjoy all. This session is going to be very interesting. We will have 4 speakers. So please be patient and hear all. Don't leave the webinar in the middle of the series. We have the participants and the resource persons nationally and internationally. So keep patience. And the questions, for the questions I'm telling you, if we are having more than 5 or 10 questions, we will take the email IDs to respond to them. So don't be impatient if you are not replying to the questions. It's all about the time frame. We have to cover everything within time. Let me tell you on the subject that mass communication and journalism is such a kind of interdisciplinary subject, okay, and course that under the sun it encompasses all the subjects and topics. Right now it's very vibrant during this lockdown and COVID-19. Having this, yeah. We will talk about the cinema and film and health and everything. We have the speakers speaking on particular themes, showing presentations. So please don't leave in the middle. Be with us up to the end. Yeah. Welcome back here, everything and everybody. Collaborate with us by muting the audio, by not distracting us. Two more minutes, then we will start shortly. Right now we have 36 participants. Just, please mute your audio before we start.
Shall I start?
Yeah, mute your audio, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
First, I would like to thank all of you. Can hear me, I hope.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you
of us
so
can
much.
hear you, sir. We will let you know, sir, when to start.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
First, I would like to start off with thanking the organizers.
Yeah.
A special thanks to Saddam for inviting me, and a special thank to Vicky Prasad for who's managing this very chaotic situation.
Yeah. So, Mirasta, we'll let you know.
Apart from that, I would also like to thank the entire organizing committee for thinking and coming up with such a wonderful idea. This is the only way we can share our thoughts and whatever we are doing or whatever we are getting our things published. So I would like to resume with my presentation as such. It's a very short presentation on the current status of the Indian film industry. Well, in fact, even if I'm speaking about the Hindi film industry, the focus is in fact on the entire Indian film industry as such. So I'll just resume with my presentation. I'm resuming my presentation.
Can you hear me, Milas sir?
Okay,
Sir, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so wait for a minute, sir. We want the convener to say something. Yeah.
You want me
sir,
to wait?
Speak up. Unmute yourself.
Okay, never mind. I'll wait.
Sir, wait for a while. Saddam sir, please unmute yourself and speak up.
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening to all of you. A very warm welcome to all of you. My questions for today's birthday. Abul Kalam, Dr. Miraj Mubaraki, Dr. Shaukat Akhtar, Dr. Samita Bhattacharjee. We are delighted to have you all person for today's program. The program is joint effort of Mirza Mahajantola Education Welfare Society, Malda, Vidyarthi Manch, Howrah, Ulgulan Foundation, Maharashtra, and Chennai Wadak Ustad Bismillah Khan Trust, Bihar. In the ahead, we hope to work together towards providing an online platform. The emerging researchers communication studies across India and the world to share their research. Artists thanks also members of the team who have given their valuable time for making this meet possible. I hope all of you will enjoy the session and encourage us with your enthusiastic participation in future episodes. Viewers, I would like to hand over to Mr. Prasad for hosting an audition. Mr. Prasad, can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you. No, okay. Let me add from the very beginning that let me put here that whatever Saddam sir has said, that this program is the joint effort of many NGOs, and he has collaborated and just included many participants. Okay, those who are very enthusiastic to make this possible. This international communication research meet is all about bringing up the objectives. These young researchers, they will get a platform to share their critical ideas from their research areas, so that they will try to share and disseminate whatever they are learning from their research. So with this objective,
exactly,
this international meet. So first of all, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Miraj Ahmad Mubaraki. He is an assistant professor in the Department of Mass Communication and Journalism at Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Hyderabad. He has contributed articles to Social Semiotics, Visual Anthropology, Indian Journal of Gender Studies, History and Sociology of South Asia, Contemporary South Asia, and Quarterly Review of Film and Video. His book, Filming Horror, Hindi Cinema, Ghosts and Ideologies, have published by Sid Publication in 2016. It is a full-length book to study the genre of Hindi horror cinema. His articles have been included in the reading list of Sussex University, UK. That is the matter of very great privilege. St. Paul's University, Canada, Central University of Gujarat, India, and University of California, Riverside, USA. It's a great privilege to have him with us, this great personality and resource person, Sir Miraj Ahmad Mubaraki. I'm handing over to you, sir. Please speak with your presentation. We are going to enjoy your session. Thank you.
Thank you so
Please,
much.
sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I would like to thank the organizing committee for, I know how these webinars sometimes become, there are load shedding in some places, there is a disconnection of the internet in some places as such, but hats off to you people who have, you have managed so much in such a little time. I would like to resume with my presentation as such. Just let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
No, sir, it's not visible yet. Present again, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So the very first thing which I would like to show about the...
Sir, screen is not visible, sir.
Vicky,
I'll just
Okay, yeah. Present your screen, sir.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, it's visible. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So the very first thing which this pandemonium has wrecked is, I'll just sum up the entire situation as such, as to what exactly has been happening with regard to Indian cinema. Well, the very first thing which has happened as of now is that there has been a complete lockdown of the theaters as such. I mean, of course, the airports have been locked down, railway stations have been locked down, but I'm specifically speaking about the theaters as such. So close to around 9,500 theaters were shut down. And out of these, some 6,300 were single theaters with, I mean, of course, if you have a multiplex, if you are running multiplex, you can always fall upon the shopping malls. But with single theaters, there's no cushion as such. There's nothing to protect you if the single theater shuts down. The second is, as you are all of you are familiar, most of these big budget films have been postponed indefinitely. I mean, if I remember it well, the last movie that was supposed to be released was Suryavanshi, but unfortunately it has been delayed indefinitely. The third very important thing that has happened in the lockdown situation is that the shooting of films and web series has been held up. I mean, if you're watching not just movies, even if you're watching serials or web series on Netflix, you can very well imagine that the shooting has been disrupted as such. The fourth important thing which I think is that the multiplex operators like Inox and PVR are absolutely they're facing a very uncertain future as such. We don't know when this lockdown is going to be taken off, and even if the lockdown was taken off, I mean, this is unlockdown as such, the first part as such, or whatever the government is calling it. But even if the lockdown is taken away, I mean, you open the shopping malls, or you start running the airlines, you start running the railways, people are not going to rush into cinema theaters anytime soon. Another important point is that there is very less discretionary spending by consumers. In a lockdown situation, you're going to spend money on essentials, on food items as such. You're not going to spend money on entertainment. Entertainment is, I believe, is going to be the last thing on your mind. And lastly is very important as such. Even if you do open these theaters somehow, taking necessary precautions, I don't think people will be ready to go into crowded places as such, unless absolutely necessary. So this is just a sum up of the lockdown situation. Theaters have shut down. Single theaters are facing the brunt of the situation. If there is a multiplex, the multiplex can somehow manage the situation by opening itself. The shops can open up, but the theaters can't. In fact, if I remember it well, in the state of Uttar Pradesh, they have opened shopping malls, but not multiplexes.
विकी सर,
Yes, sir.
आप अपनी आवाज को एक बार बंद कर लीजिए, बाद में कुछ पूछना हो तो ओपन कर लीजिए.
Okay. So, thank you so much. The audio has improved a lot. I hope you can hear me all. As I was telling you, the multiplex operators such as Inox and PVR have taken a battering like hell. If you are keeping an eye on the Bombay Stock Exchange, you will find that the PVR and the Inox shares have dropped like anything. And lastly, as I said in my previously, consumers are not spending money on anything other than food essentials as such. And mostly they're avoiding crowded places. Even if you open theaters, I don't think they will be ready to, go out to theaters and watch movies. Now, what exactly has been the economic cost of this lockdown? Now, of course, we have a lockdown. I was reading in a newspaper just this morning only that the GDP is going to go back by around, is going to be somewhere around 0.1 to 1.0, somewhere in between. What has this lockdown done to the Indian film industry? What we know as of now is that in the first quarter, the situation was quite dire. The Indian film industry faced a decline of around 30%. And as of May, it has faced a loss of almost 1,000 crore rupees. And if this lockdown continues for some more time, maybe for a couple of more months, then it will result in a net loss of 2,500 crore rupees. This is much. It's I mean, this is just the beginning of calculation. We're using some not very accurate figures to come up with this kind of a figure. But even if this lockdown is lifted, the earning will see a decline of around 60%. We will see the film industry going into some kind of a severe recession. And lastly, even if you do inspire the viewers' confidence by increasing sanitation, now imagine if you go to a theater watching a movie and the very first thing that the usher is asking you is, he's going to take your temperature. How confident will you be watching a movie with a crowd, with an alien crowd, or with a crowd you're not familiar with, sharing that same space, that same physical space with somebody who you don't know? It's not going to inspire confidence in the consumer. So even if they do, I mean, resort to these kind of measures like taking temperatures, increasing a little bit amount of sanitation as well, they're simply going to pass on the expenses directly onto the consumers themselves. What will that happen? I mean, if you pass on the this cost to the consumer, the tickets will become much more expensive. The expensive the ticket, the more difficult it will be for the viewers to spend money out of the discretionary spending. So we are in a kind of a catch-22 situation. We are not going to theaters to watch movies. Even when we do, it's not inspiring confidence in the consumers. This is just the economic cost. What about the human cost? Now, contrary to all expectations, of course, movie making is a very expensive proposition in India. Despite that fact, Indian film industry is a very, very labor-intensive industry. You need lots and lots of people to make movies. You need lightmen, you need camera persons, you need the technical staff, you need the film extras, the junior artists. Apart from that, there is a whole auxiliary industry attached with the film industry. Take, for example, the costume department. That employs a lot of people who are making dresses for the film stars. So it's a very dire situation. The human cost is, we're not even calculating what exactly has been the human cost. How much of salary loss has the Indian film industry faced? So recently I came across some news which is the Federation of Western Indian Cine Employees and the Indian Film and Television Directors Association has halted shooting. They're not shooting anymore now. And the situation is in fact so dire that the Cine and Television Artists Association has in fact appealed to certain Bombay film stars, Bollywood film stars, to bail them out of this situation. You know, I heard, and maybe these are planted stories, maybe these are PR stories, I don't know. But what is available in the public domain is that people like Salman Khan, people like Amir Khan, they have been financing, they have been helping out the people associated with the film industry. They have been trying to help out people. But this is a measure which is too little too late. And again, of course, I mean, if you look at the entire situation, there have been massive job losses everywhere. I know a lot of people who are working in the IT industry and they have been given the pink slip. They have faced major losses. So with massive job losses elsewhere, you will definitely find people having less money to spend on cinema. So therefore, we will be, since we are spending a lot less money or entertainment, the film industry is bound to go into some sort of a recession as such. Now, what exactly has been the alternative? Of course, the industry will survive, whether there is a pandemonium. There have been other these kind of critical situation in India as well. There was a war in 1962 with China. There was a war with Pakistan in 1965. Again, there was a war in 1971 with Bangladesh. These are national crises. There was a balance of payment crisis in 1991. Again, there have been communal riots way back in 1992 that led to a shutdown of all the exhibition theaters in India for a few weeks. But this is something which the Indian film industry has never experienced before. So what exactly is the alternative as such? Now let me just share this information with you that despite the theaters not running, there has been an overall media consumption. There has been an overall jump in the media consumption by around 60%. So during lockdown, we are spending more time with our television sets. We are watching more videos on YouTube, whether the platform is a laptop, is a desktop, or a mobile, that is irrelevant. But media consumption has risen by almost 60%. You must be quite familiar with that last movie that was released. It has been released online. Gulabo Sitabo. Amitabh Bachchan's movie has been released online. It led to a feud between the PVR people and the producers, but ultimately the producers prevailed and they launched their movie online. So this is going to be the future of Indian film industry for quite some time now. Again, if you are following some social media accounts, whether you're following Twitter, whether you are on Facebook, whether you're on Instagram, you will find that people from the film industry, whether they're working in films, whether they're working in television, they have been in fact filling their social media feeds with snippets from their own lives. This is the new trend. So what exactly is the alternative? If theaters close down, the next alternative will be Netflix and Amazon Prime. In fact, they are already gaining prominence. I know people who had not even heard about or had not given importance to Netflix and Amazon Prime. Now they have subscribed to Netflix and Amazon Prime. They are watching movies on these online platforms. And how exactly are these online platforms dealing with this sudden surge of subscription? They have, in fact, in order to reduce the load on the bandwidth, they are providing streaming of movies on standard definition instead of high definition. Because if you go for high definition, you will be putting a lot of pressure on the bandwidth. So this is just I can call it as a consumer-friendly decision that they have taken to stream movies to standard definition instead of high definition. So, I mean, of course, this can account for small movies, but what about big movies? If a movie has been made with a shoestring budget of 5 or 6 crore rupees, the producer can sell the movie on Netflix or Amazon Prime. They will get a return. Maybe stretched over a period of time through repeat broadcast, they will eventually cover the cost. But what about movies that are very expensive? Expensive in a sense. Take for example, why is it that Rohan Shetty has not decided to release his movie Suryavanshi on Netflix? Because the return will not be that much. We still don't have internet facility. The internet penetration in India is not as it is as in South Korea. We don't have that kind of a net speed in which we can. I mean, you can make videos on TikTok and you can release videos on TikTok. That's fine. But streaming a 2-hour movie is too much for even for a Netflix. And if they do, I mean, decide to release big budget movies on Netflix, how will Netflix re-monetize that kind of amount of money? Suppose, for example, if they buy a movie somewhat like Suryavanshi for 70 crores of rupees, how will they recover their money? That is an important question. There's no hope of a Netflix recovering its money by streaming a movie like Suryavanshi online. It's completely out of the question. So what exactly has happened is that recently, after the 5th lockdown, the government has given permission for film shooting. We are seeing some kind of green shoots emerging. Akshay Kumar going online. Yesterday, I heard that Shah Rukh Khan is, in fact, shooting some portion. Either it's a promotion video, an advertisement, I don't know. Whether it's a movie scene, I don't know. But they are resuming on a very small scale. So what exactly happens to cinemas in times of crisis? As I pointed out, we have certain precedents available as to what exactly happens when there is a national crisis. How exactly does cinema cope with national crisis? Very important part is crisis precedes creativity. Or to put it another way, creativity follows crisis. Take for example, if you're familiar with a little bit of history of cinema, there was a film movement in Germany in the 1920s. Now we call it as the German Expressionist movement. It was a short-lived period. In this period, for about 5 to 6 years before the rise of Nazi cinema, there were movies made in the German Expressionist movement. Now these films, in fact, it was a trauma of the defeat in the First World War that fashioned the German Expressionist movement. Now, these were films that eschewed realism. They avoided realism and narrated tales of madness and death and doppelgangers. The same thing happened vis-a-vis Italy in the post-Second World War as such. Even during the Second World War, movies were being made in Italy. There was an acute shortage of studios, there was an acute shortage of film actors, shortage of raw film stock, coupled with a complete ban on American films. Now, it created a situation where, in fact, the Italian filmmakers were able to fashion an entirely new film movement, what we now call it as the Italian neo-realist cinema. In fact, those who are familiar with cinema can recall the movie Bicycle Thieves, which went on to inspire Satyajit Ray's cinema as such. Take for example, how exactly has American cinema dealt with anxiety, with national anxieties, with national crisis around the 1950s. I'm just giving an example of a particular genre of American cinema that emerges in the 1950s. Around the 1950s, American anxieties about a nuclear war with the Soviet Union, its nuclear rivalry with the Soviet Union, almost a mass hysteria against the Reds, against the communist regime in Soviet Union, fashioned or rather engendered a particular genre, what we call as of now, what we call it as the monstrosities from science narratives about alien attacks, about planetary and intergalactic invasions. It continues even today, but it was fashioned way back in the 1950s. Another very important, I'd like to give an example from Indian cinema. I've got a full-length paper on this. But have you ever wondered why we have muscular heroes in the post-1990, in the post-liberalization era, but not muscular heroes in the 1930s? It isn't as if people were not into bodybuilding in the 1930s, they were. But why is it that Indian cinema did not see muscular heroes in the 1930s? The reason is, in the 1930s, the crisis of colonialism in India produced lean-bodied, unmuscular heroes like P.C. Barua. P.C. Barua is a very famous Bengali film personality. Ashok Kumar eventually went on. Tadamoni was a veteran of Indian cinema who acted in close to around 50 to 60. Close to 5 to 6 decades in Hindi cinema. But why is it that they became more popular than people like Sando? Now, I'll give you an example of Sando. Sando was an Indian bodybuilder who became very famous in B grade and C grade kind of movies. Used to act in films of Fearless Nadia. So Ashok Kumar, P.C. Barua and Sando were in fact working at the same time. But Sando did not get the kind of gain the kind of popularity that P.C. Barua or Ashok Kumar commanded. This is because they rejected the Western notion. Indian cinema and rather I would say that Indian society rejected that Western notions of brawny masculinity and subconsciously idealized Mahatma Gandhi's frail and emaciated body. So what next? This will in fact depend on what a highly traumatized and anxiety-driven spectatorship will dictate. How exactly will a traumatized and anxiety-driven spectatorship will react or has reacted to this pandemic. This is the only way we can move forward. By analyzing how confident people are in moving out of their homes and making their way to film theaters. For now, film producers may take the satellite television route and over-the-top media approach and stream films directly over the internet. But this is not a good news for film theater owners. This is completely bypassing the traditional modes of film exhibition and making a connection directly with the consumers. This is good for you and for me because this will cut down our cost of our entertainment. But imagine what it will do to people who are working in the exhibition film industry. Again, what will happen to the film production companies? Now, since you cannot you cannot afford extravagant movies. So what I feel is that film production companies will avoid very expensive productions and very expensive foreign shoots. Also expect some very extensive technical wizardry to compensate for the outdoor shoots, which I feel is the filmmakers will resort more to computer generated images. Again, an important aspect of what exactly is in store for Indian viewers is I feel that people rediscover divinity and mysticism in times of siege. So I believe that these kind of narratives will make a comeback. I'm not exactly saying that we will start making and enjoying films like Jai Santoshima as of now. But of course, there will be an element of mysticism and there will be an element of supernaturalism in Hindi films for some time to come. There is a very practical aspect to this idea as well, because it's easier to make a film with two people if you're making a horror film than to make a film of the action genre with just two people. So therefore expect a disruption in the modes of conventional realism in storytelling. We're not going to see cinema, the kind of cinema that we have been seeing for some time. So therefore these trauma-inducing moments will entail assimilation of the surrealist and nihilistic storytelling elements. We're going to see some very strange movies being made now. So therefore Hindi cinema will attempt either to contain the fear of the virus by reiterating narratives that provide assurance that the Indian institutions are working and working well, or they might be expressing the anxieties unleashed by the failures of institutions in meeting these challenges, the failure of institutions in facing the challenges raised by this pandemic. So either way, the virus is here to stay, and I believe Hindi cinema will be dealing with the pandemic for some time to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miyaz sir. You have just scrutinized and examined the film, cinema and film culturally, politically, and economically. As we have seen that we have scrutinized everything as if you have churned this industry and sphere of cinema and film. So we will have our next speaker very shortly, and his name is Soumya Datta. He's an assistant professor in charge Department of Communication and Journalism, Loreto College, Kolkata. Before joining Loreto College, he was assistant professor, guest faculty, School of Mass Communication and Media Technology, Central University of Jharkhand. He completed his PhD department from the Department of Mass Communication from Burdwan. He has published a number of papers and articles in the international and national journals, and he has also contributed in the EPT Pathshala modules and also in FilmNet. He has presented papers and in the conferences and taken part in the television talks. So it's a great privilege for us also to have him with us. Soumya Datta, it's over to you, sir. Please unmute yourself and address the session.
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Vicky.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your introduction. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible. Go ahead, sir. Yes.
So first of all, thank you for nicely conducting things from the very beginning, introducing us all. And I was really enlightened by Miraj sir's presentation right now. At the onset, I would like to thank Mr. Saddam Hussain, who is the convener and the organizing committee of this International Communications Suite. It is really a great attempt to bring the young minds at one place and to think of things, how things are going to be in the coming days. We know we are passing through a crisis situation, but we will overcome it. But it will have its own cost, as rightly right now Miraj sir was saying, and I was listening to it, the various aspects. Now, before going into the details of my presentation, I would like to share my screen. So if you can just give me 1 second in which I would just like to present my screen. And I will make it full screen, the PPT presentation. So,
Of course, sir. So, Miraj sir, can you
Yes.
please mute your sir?
Sure.
Yeah.
विक्की जी आप ना ऑडियो म्यूट करिए विक्की जी ऑडियो म्यूट करिए
just give me some time. I think there is some problem. Just 1 second.
Okay, sir, take your time. Yeah.
Okay, so is it visible now? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. You are audible,
Okay,
sir.
so can you see now?
Sir, have you presented your screen?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yes, sir.
Is it visible now?
Hmm.
Okay, is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so today the topic of my discussion is digital news consumption, silver lining during COVID-19 and beyond. Now, why we are suddenly saying this is a silver lining? Because every day we are now listening to stories, we are listening to the news reports, which are saying that there is some kind of a layoff, people are losing jobs. As right now, Miraj was saying that there are things like that. So all these things are happening, but definitely there is a silver lining as far as digital news consumption is concerned. Okay, so am I audible?
You are audible, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Just remind me at times so that I know that I'm audible, because it's a full screen sharing, so that's the thing. Yeah.
Yes, sir,
So,
you are audible. Please proceed. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a silver lining that is there, because we are now witnessing that there has been a spurt or a growth as far as digital news consumption is concerned, which is primarily because of the situation that we are in because of COVID-19. And I'm also looking at certain trends which are going to continue beyond this particular scenario. So at the onset, what we are going to do is I'm just going to outline the various studies which are already being done. The researchers, the research studies which is done, the reports which are already there in the public, and I will just try to first, give you an insight into the major findings of the major areas which are there, and then I will go into the details of each of them. Now, so to begin with, these are the primary areas that we are looking at, the major areas that we're looking at. The first is the digital consumption of news during COVID-19 has increased significantly due to the lockdown. So as people were really skeptical of taking print versions or in their homes because of the fear of getting affected. Now, so the digital consumption has increased. Now, so that is one particular thing that that is coming out. Now, there has been a spike in the download of news apps. So there has been a significant spike in the download of news apps. So that is also something that is coming out. Now, an interesting finding shows that demand has been driven by small towns and cities. Now, this is very interesting. I want all of you to just look into this, that this demand has a significant component coming out of small towns and cities. There is also a significant preference for videos over text updates. So that's one thing. So definitely the preference is more for video. So whenever there is a video content, we're going more for that than text updates. But overall, definitely the demand has increased. Now the next consumption, the news consumption over smartphones has witnessed a steady rise. So all of us are having smartphones. Many of us have today opened from smartphones.
Soumya sir, can you hear me? Hello, Soumya sir. Hello.
Tell me.
Sir, your audio is not clear, sir. Can you please speak in your microphone? Yeah, up to your mouth, sir. Your microphone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's audible right now.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay,
Yeah.
so so the news consumption over smartphones is stabilized. So all of us are having smartphones now, and smartphones are the primary source of this news consumption. Now we are all so much worried about misinformation infodemic. Now, we all know this, that there is so much of misinformation being circulated across social media, everything, COVID, beyond, everything that is around us. So the misinformation infodemic, and so consumers are searching for credible news websites to share content. From where I get the credible news source, which I can share. No, this is not something which is misinformation, but this is correct. But this trend is likely to stay in the post-COVID scenario, because people have seen so much misinformation being circulated that they are really and badly searching for credible news sources, and this trend is likely to stay. Now, one thing that's taking big revenue, and that's why nowadays you see newspapers number of pages. That's also because there's a variety of across newspaper organizations. So, so advertising revenue has taken a hit. Now, so it is a time that we look for all revenue models. As I go forward with the slides, I will discuss the alternative revenue models also. But yes, we have to keep this in mind that advertising revenue remains a challenge. Now, Broadcasting Audience Research Council, the BARC, we into all this media. We now have done a
Hello, Soumya sir.
Tell me. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir.
I can hear you.
Not so clear. So can you please speak a bit louder? Sir, could you please speak a bit louder, sir? Hello. Can you hear me, sir?
Am I audible?
Sir, a bit louder. Could you please speak a bit louder?
Hello. I think there's an audio problem. Yeah, I think there is some audio problem. Can you hear me now?
It's audible, sir. Please proceed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So, yeah. Just a second. Yeah. So I hope I'm now audible because I am facing some audio issues here. So now, according to Broadcast Audience Research Council (BARC) and the Nielsen, they have undertaken a report that news saw a jump of 8% more users per week, with 17% in time spent. So this is something which we need to take account of, that just after this lockdown was announced, there was a jump of 8% more users per week and an increase of 17% in the time spent. Now, significantly, this growth has been led by non-English news apps. So 87%. So this is something which I want all to take note of, that it is not English news apps which is having a growth. It is the non-English news apps where we are seeing significant growth. Now, so that is a very important thing, and it is a whooping 87%. And this trend is definitely going to follow, because we are seeing almost a kind of stagnation as far as the English news market is concerned, and the growth will be in the different Hindi and the other regional languages. Now, there has been 34% growth in news consumption on smartphones. So smartphones, again, I'm saying, is a major leader. Most of the news that is coming from smartphones. So you are using smartphones to access the news. Now, there is also a significant preference for videos over text updates. Now, this is something which I told at the very beginning when I was just pointing out major findings that is there. So obviously, the consumption for videos are more than text updates. Now, misinformation is epidemic. Now, as I said earlier, social media platforms is also to consumers searching for credible news websites to share content. Credible news website is that. For the credible news website, if you're getting it, then you are more comfortable about sharing content, because that you are not caught on guard by the fact that you are sharing something which is wrong. Now, 42% more users. Now, that is a significant number. 42% more users have accessed news websites, and there is 31% increase in the number of visitors per week. So these are all findings that are coming out from the report. So 42% more users have accessed news websites in this particular time after this lockdown was announced. There is 31% increase in the number of visitors per week. So if you look at both these numbers, that is a significant increase. Now, this was the report. So, marketing, advertising, sales, Panorama, he has observed there has been an increase of 76% traffic per last. Now, traffic there over there coming to their website to market whatever which they have posted the number of indicated.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
So we are having problems, sir, noise problems. So I think network is weak, it's very weak there. Is the network okay, sir? Please check it once.
I think it's fine. Am I audible?
Shoga, this is Shomik. Shomoda, this is Shomik Chatterjee. Shomik bolchi.
Tell me. Shomik, bol.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually thinking that if you have no problem, you can mute your video and you can speak. I think there is an internet issue with your device. That's why you are a little bit, not audible. So if you have no problem,
okay.
You can try once. I am not sure, but you can try once.
Okay, I'm trying doing that. So that in that case I can say, yeah, no problem. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, you are audible, sir. Please.
So now, am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Very clear. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so as I was just saying that this Varghese Andy, the VP Marketing Advertising Sales, Manorama, he has observed that there has been a whooping increase of 76% traffic over last year as far as their website is concerned. Now, much of this traffic is due to social media posts. So, as I was saying, that by this social media post, we mean that that the links that they have shared on social media, and through those links, people have come and visited their site. So, that's a significant number. After this lockdown was announced, there has been this increase. Now, the number of downloads of news aggregators like InShorts doubled in March. So after this lockdown was announced, the number of downloads of news aggregators like InShorts have just doubled. Now that is also something very significant. The numbers just doubling. Now, according to Azhar Iqbal, the CEO and co-founder in InShorts, now he has given another very interesting data to everyone. That is that the regional video news app which they have apart from InShorts, which is called Public, that is witnessing even higher growth than InShorts. So as I said earlier, that people have more affinity for videos over text. So this is primarily because users in small towns and cities do not have access to other sources for digital news, and they prefer video content over text. So video content is having more takers. Now, just to give you another piece of just information which might help. So that is one thing that has been found through. This was actually published in the Economic Times. This data. Now, the news app usage peaks during 8 to 10 a.m. in the morning. So that is also very important. So early in the morning, this usage is high. And if we look at the numbers after March, and this trend is still continuing, there has been an exponential growth, 37%, as far as the news apps are concerned. So various news apps, whether through news apps or through various websites which are giving news. So whatever it is, it's all across the spectrum. We are seeing that there has been a rise, and obviously the majority of this is the enabler. If we call it the enabler is the smartphones. So that is there now. Let me just say, because now I think there were some infographics, but because of this this network issue, it would have been better if I could show you all the infographic that is there. But nevertheless, I will just explain to you all. Hopefully, I'm hopeful that you will be able to understand. Now, as I told earlier, that this was a study done between two organizations, that is VARC and Nielsen. Now, Dolly Jha, the country head of Nielsen, observed that the way men and women have taken to digital news at every level of socioeconomic strata in metros, that's a revelation. Metros as well as non-metros. Now, since they're forced to maintain social distancing in COVID scenario, they are increasingly finding the avenues in the virtual world. So that's there. So now I have an infographic here, but unfortunately, because of this network problem, I can't show this to you, but I can just tell you so that if it is understandable to you all. Now, between February and March, there has been an exponential growth. And if exactly the numbers, I can say that as it stands March and beyond, there has been 68% rise over what it was in February. So that has been an exponential growth. Now, there is another study which I want to cite, that is the KPMG study, a very renowned study, KPMG International. They have done a study on media and entertainment sector in India during COVID-19. They have indicated that digital presence of print newspapers is more critical at this juncture and can lead to greater monetization opportunities. So when people are skeptical about newspapers, taking newspapers, and the advertising revenues have taken a hit. So digital is the hope. They are more and more accessing newspapers, their digital versions. They're more and more going to their websites. They're accessing the news through websites. Now, at this juncture, if you can just bank on this. You can just use this. You can actually. This can lead to greater monetization opportunities. So they have to, it's very critical. They have to use this to their advantage. Now, the report also observes that digital consumption is slated to witness incremental growth, with India's digital billion trajectory likely to accelerate further. Now, they made an observation that India's digital billion, which they specifically says digital billion, that number we are going to reach by 2030. Now, they say that because of this lockdown scenario, because more people are now digitally rooted, so that process might even more accelerate. So that thing is there. That's a very interesting observation from study. And also one of the major problems for social media has been circulation of misinformation. So all kind of misinformations abound in social media. Everybody is saying, sharing. Then I myself might say that I have also shared at times something that was wrong, and later I had to withdraw because the source was found to be wrong. So newspapers with their credibility stand to gain in such a scenario. So if a newspaper is credible, have developed credibility over a period of time, so there is the game changer. So increased digital presence of print newspapers will help in retaining consumer loyalty. So that is also very important. So increased digital presence of print newspapers will help in retaining consumer loyalty. Now, what can be the likely developments post COVID-19? So what are the developments we are looking forward to? These are likely developments. Digital habit formation will lead to sustained growth in consumption of digital news. Now, since we are now developing a digital habit, many of us who never had that habit of consuming news digitally are now forced into a habit. Now, when you are forming a habit, that's likely to be sustained over a period of time. So, sustained growth in consumption of digital news. The future is digital, with a significant acceleration in the digital billion trajectory. Digital billion, as I've discussed earlier only. So the future looks digital. I'm not saying that the print is going to go away, but the future is digital, no doubt. And with the digital billion trajectory increasing even further, so the future for digital is looking brighter. Now the growth will be driven by non-English news apps. So that is also something which is very interesting. It is not English which is going to drive the process. It is a non-English, the Hindi and the other regional languages that will grow exponentially. It will be a challenge to sustain the growth in towns, small cities and villages due to livelihoods being affected by the pandemic. So, their livelihood has been affected by the pandemic. There is also the migrant labor issue and other problems. So there are many other issues which are now primary for them to address. So sustaining the growth over a period of time in small cities, villages and towns will be a challenge. So maybe these organizations have to think of some ways how to reach out during that time, because their priorities will be different. There are other issues for them which are primary. Now, and the most important thing, which I find that it is very much important, that is monetization will remain a challenge. So how you're going to monetize content, that's very important, because without the advertisement support, you cannot sustain this growth over a period of time. And we know that when there has been an exponential growth that we are seeing as far as digital consumption of news is concerned, but the advertisement revenue hasn't grown substantially with it. So you need to think of other revenue models. So lastly, I will come to the alternative revenue models that we can look forward to. Now, the first is that a gradual shift towards digital subscription strategy. As we all know, I think Miraj sir was discussing about digital subscription, the OTT platforms, how they're faring. So they have a digital subscription strategies, Netflix, and also if you can develop something like that, that there is a digital subscription strategy for newspapers. So if they can package it like in that way, attractive rates being offered to people, so that can sustain the long run. Providing specialized services to businesses and monetizing data. Now, this is very important. There are certain businesses who are always looking for specialized information. So if you are dealing in specialized areas as news websites, you can always offer them those informations, and you can actually, you can fix some revenue for that. Now, monetizing data, as we all know, that the data journalism is coming up in a big way. Now, monetizing data can also be a game changer. Now, when you are possessing a lot of data that is being used for investigative journalism, for any kind of report that you are building, some of the data that you are publishing, there is a lot of follow-up data that is there. And there are classified industries, there are specific organizations who are looking forward to those data. There are researchers who are looking forward to data. There are other organizations who are looking forward to data. Now, if you can monetize your data, the data that you're holding, that can actually lead to revenue generation. Now, the next is creating memberships. So memberships pay in the long run. So if you are creating a network of memberships, so memberships can help in that sustaining a revenue model. Now, and the last one that I have, that is converting into non-profit or low-profit institutions such as public benefit organizations. Now, the main problem with these organizations, the news organizations mostly, is that they are driven by that idea of profit. Now, if you are driven by the idea of profit, you will always face the pressure of advertisement. So if your advertisements are not coming, you are not having the profit, you are not being in a position to sustain the workforce, and all these things pile up. Now, if there are organizations, I'm not saying all organizations like that, but if some organizations come up which are non-profit or low profit or being funded by charitable organizations or something like that, then they can turn out to be public benefit organizations. There are two advantages of it. One, you can have a sustained revenue model, which is not looking at a higher profit, but at least something to sustain. And the news that you are giving, tends to be more objective because you are not driven by all the business interests that are there. You are driven by the sole interest of giving objective news. So that is what I had to present today. And thank you all for giving it a patient hearing. Hopefully I was audible all this while, and that is my presentation. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Your presentation is good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Because of the power cut. Okay, I think we have a problem here. So lecture here. Okay, so I should proceed, I think. Hello? Yeah, Datta sir, thank you for the presentation. It was very nice presentation, really, very engaging. Okay, you have talked about the nitty-gritties of digital media, okay, and everything with linking with the economy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. We will take up the questions if the questions are coming. Okay, so our next speaker will be Ajat sir. So let me introduce Ajat sir very shortly. Ajat sir, he is a professor, associate professor, and former chairperson, Department of Communication and Journalism, University of Chittagong and Bangladesh. And though we have a very extensive profile of Ajat sir, let me tell you briefly that he has attended international and national conferences, research work, seminar including Global Media Forum in Germany in 2016. Right now, he has his research work is like role of radio and television channels in agriculture in Bangladesh, journalism education, uses of RTIA, social media and health communication, etc. So I think we have very long, extensive profile of Ajat sir. Before further, without much ado, I want to take over. Okay, I want Ajat sir to take over the session. Sir, please, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Good morning, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me, please? Is it audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay. Today I enjoyed our Sommo sir's lecture. Thank you, Mr. Vicky, and also today's coordinator, Mr. Saddam Hussain, and also I am finding my friends, Shant Kumar, and also some others who are very much introduced with me. So can I, Mr. Presenter, can I show my slides?
Yes, sir. You can, sir.
Okay. So
You are allowed.
usually we are using Zoom. So just if I just show on the screen, then it will be maybe visible, right? Can you see this? Is it visible? Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Is it visible? Okay. Visible effectiveness of social media in pandemic COVID-19. Today my topic. Can you see my slide?
Sir, have you presented?
Yes. Do you see my slide? Is it visible?
Not visible, sir. Slides are not visible, I think.
Not visible. Okay.
Okay, see, sir, once again.
Okay. So usually we are using Zoom, but here actually it's a different system. I think Mr. Biki can help me. So if
Yes, sir.
if I want to use this slide, so
Okay,
if I
sir.
just show
Sir, see here.
can you help me to show it? How is it visible?
Yeah, sir, I'm telling you, you can see the option here. Present now, sir. You can see the option present now.
Present now. Yes, yes. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Here, yes.
Click over there, sir.
Yes.
Sir, click over there and present your, just window, sir.
Yes, yes. I found present now. Yes.
Click over there, sir.
Yes. Then there is a window and also Chrome tab.
Yes, sir. Window, sir. Window.
Window. Okay.
Yeah.
Share now. Okay. Okay. Now is it visible?
Yes, sir. Audience. Asking audience. Is it visible? Please say in the chat box immediately.
No.
Audience. Can you see the slides?
No, sir.
Okay. Again I'm trying. Okay. Okay.
Try, sir. Try. It's not visible here.
Okay. Okay. I'm doing it. Okay. Okay, I'm just taking time. Sorry for taking time. Just.
No, sir. Take your time.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Problem. Yeah. Window. Now maybe it is visible, right?
Sir,
Here, what is this?
It's visible. Now you can proceed, sir.
Okay, okay, thank you. Thank you. Now, so today
you
my
can
topic
start,
is-
sir.
Yeah, okay. Today my topic is effectiveness of social media in pandemic COVID-19. So here we all know that today's social media is playing a very vital role. We all know that. And COVID-19 actually has changed our total social media landscape with many platforms. Now it is flooding us, and we all are inundated with information and misinformation. Actually, what I want to say that due to social media's activities, we are getting informed and also misinformed. That means we are not only getting information, but also we are actually sometimes getting misinformation. So what we actually know, media has different roles to play. A renowned communication expert told that Wilbur Schramm, media has 4 functions, that is to inform, to educate, to entertain, and to persuade. So here we are getting all activities from social media, and in this very crisis situation, in this COVID-19 pandemic situation, social media can play a very vital role by providing information. And we all know that here World Health Organization is also is also utilizing social media platforms, and already a social media platform play a very important role in the spread of information across the world, and in this sense play a large role in the global response to this pandemic. Social media platforms have taken an aggressive stance towards countering coronavirus. But on the other hand, misinformation is also taking place, and many people are misled because of wrong information. So that is the problem actually. So there we see a number of social media platforms and big tech companies, including Google, Amazon, YouTube, and Twitter, attended a meeting in early February hosted by the World Health Organization at Facebook's offices. The WHO held this meeting as they are attempting to fight the informatic of rumors, myths, and misinformation related to COVID-19. Actually, the thing is that this pandemic era, it is not only that there's a problem of infodemic. So information and pandemic and endemic, infodemic. So we are also in the crisis of infodemic, because social media is not only giving information but also misleading many people. So that is a horrible problem for us. So we can actually utilize the best effectiveness of social media if we can remove these such problems. So YouTube, but on the other hand, we see that YouTube has already added a banner redirecting users to the WHO web portal on all videos that discuss COVID-19. When we browse YouTube, if we just search for COVID-19, then we find some instructions from WHO, World Health Organization. And another thing is that if you search for topics related to COVID-19 on Facebook, the first results encourage users to look at the WHO website for the latest information. It also prioritizes the WHO website in users' news feeds. Again, Snapchat worked with the WHO to create filters that display facts on how to stay safe and maintain social distance. So WhatsApp has also worked with the WHO to create a health alert system that is designed to answer questions from the public about COVID-19 and provides prompt, reliable, and official information 24 hours a day worldwide. So what we see that actually different platforms of social media are playing very vital role. My speech is audible to everyone?
Audio sir, okay, but sir slide show या फिर आप स्क्रीन पे आओ सर.
Okay. Now slide is clear. Okay, sir. When social media platforms prioritize the WHO or local government websites, users are encouraged to seek out information from reliable sources instead of from user-generated content that can contain misinformation. So here you see battling the pandemic of misinformation. Actually, what I have told, we are not only getting information, but we are also, social media is also misleading the people, because if we get any information from the concerned authorities, then we get proper information, accurate information. But on the other hand, social media is also be misused by providing rumors and some misinformation, false information, and people are also misguided. In our country like Bangladesh, where a good section of people are not that much educated, and sometimes they are actually getting wrong information, and some people are also not getting proper information, and because of such rumors, actually people are not getting proper treatment, and also people are not getting proper facilities what they should, but such misinformation is actually creating problem. You see here, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres last week, just few weeks before, called a pandemic of misinformation. Misinformation could be an honest mistake, or the inventions are not to blatantly mislead people, like advising others to eat garlic or gargle with salt water as protection against COVID-19. Information and misinformation. Another thing is disinformation. So here we see the social media is playing role as in case of information, misinformation, and again disinformation. Disinformation campaigns usually propagated for political gain by state actors, party operatives, or activists deliberately spread falsehoods or create fake content like a video purporting to show the Chinese government executing residents in Wuhan with COVID-19 or pandemic. So regulating misinformation, how we can regulate this misinformation? Actually, public health organizations should be running effective communication, surveillance of social media to monitor which rumors, ideas, and issues most worry the public, what is understood. The thing is, when concerned authorities, that means authentic organizations, play a vital role, then we can control or regulate misinformation. We cannot absolutely control misinformation, but we can just regulate such misinformation. So, usage of social media in pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected the usage of social media by the world's general population, celebrities, world leaders, and professionals. Social networking services have been used to spread information and to find humor and distraction from the pandemic. In this very pandemic era, we are actually not only that we are getting information, or not only that. Yes.
Yeah, sir, see your slides. Is it getting presented? Your slides, sir. Your slides. It is getting presented. Please see your screen.
Yes.
Your slides are presented.
Yes.
See once again.
Yes. Presenting.
Presenting, but it's not showing, sir. Check once. It's not showing.
It is not visible?
No, sir, it's not visible. See once again.
Oh, okay. Anyway. Okay, I'm skipping my slides, okay? Now, just without slides, I'm
sharing करने वास्ते.
Okay, I'm leaving slides, just I'm telling you now in front of you. Okay, again, the thing is that because time is very limited, that is why I'm skipping slides. The thing is that what we say now, social media is actually functioning like a mainstream media because it is also giving information. That means what we say, our just very renowned scholar Wilbur Sram, you all know him. What he said, to inform, to educate, to entertain, and to persuade. All these things are functioning by social media. The thing is that now we are all utilizing social media. Not only that, staying at home for a long time, we all are sometimes mentally depressed, and many people, a lot of people, our friends, we all hear some sad news from someone is dying, and someone's relative is dying. So in this very critical moment, we are using the social media for
Sir.
Yes.
Your slide, you are not showing on screen, sir.
Hello.
I'm on screen. Do you see everyone?
Sir, your screen is not visible.
Am I visible? Okay.
Yes, you are visible, sir. Your screen is not visible.
Okay. I'm skipping the screen because I'm not showing the slide now. I'm just telling what comes up in my mind from extempore lecture. Okay. What I want to tell you that social media is now functioning not only giving information and also misinformation or disinformation, but another thing is that we are also fulfilling the gap of entertainment through social media because our social communication is totally maintained by social media. So the thing is, what we are missing, the problem is that we are how we can maintain the optimum level effectiveness of social media. So we can just overcome such misinformation if our relevant and authentic, reliable authorities can play a vital role by providing necessary information to social media platforms. And through this process, we can overcome misinformation. Because if we get the information from authentic source, then we will not rely on misinformation. So that should be the strategy, and that is the recommendation from different research activity, from research findings. And the thing is that we are actually from social media's role, we can ensure our best effectiveness through our if we can remove such problems. So another thing is that what I want to show from my slide is that this I'm taking a short time for. Oh, okay. What I want to just continue. Public health organizations should be running effective communication surveillance of social media to monitor which rumors, ideas, and issues most worry the public, what is understood and misunderstood about various diseases and treatments, and what myths are circulating or being actively promoted in the community. And they need to have a strategy in place to counter and what they are picking up. You cannot control this, but you can at least manage some of this. So nowadays we see the many celebrities and also our world leaders are also using social media. So I think now we have many things to, in this COVID area, we don't know what is remaining in our future, because still now we cannot predict, or our scientists cannot predict how long this situation will be continued. So I think there are many researches now it is going on, and I have also interest to do some research works and activities in regarding the effectiveness of social media for combating COVID-19 situation. So through this research works, we can find out many ways how to ensure the best utilization of social media. And I think we all should work together for overcoming this crisis. And here I think social media can play a very powerful role. So that's it from my side. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your wonderful lecture here. We have the technical glitches, so sorry for the inconvenience to all the audience. So let me tell you all here that we will take questions. So please type the questions in the chat box. Okay, our speakers are waiting here. Please type the questions. Please put your questions here so that we can ask the speakers, respective speakers. Our next speaker, Gon Chaudhary, she has fallen sick seriously. Unfortunately, we are able to have her in this session, and that is in today's world that people might fall sick. Okay, so please, she might join in the next session. Bear with us, and sorry for the inconvenience that she's able to join, and maybe she will join in the next session. Please, I'm hoping for the best that you will join the next session to have her, to hear her. Are we having questions? Anybody? Questions? So we are not having questions. So I would like Somik sir to take over the session for the whole. Thanks. Somik sir, can you hear me?
Hello.
Somik sir.
Hello.
Okay, yes.
Okay, let's take some time. Let's wait for some time that whether we can have some questions or not, or even participants can ask directly as well. If there is any question, let the resource person handle them. And I think after that,
okay, why not, sir? Of course.
हेलो
एनी क्वेश्चंस
सर एक छोटा क्वेश्चन है सर मेरा सर अभी जो सर ने प्रेजेंटेशन दी है कोविड-19 पे तो सर उसको जो मीडिया का रोल है सोशल मीडिया का रोल है वो इस कदर हुआ है सर कि सोशल मीडिया ने कोविड-19 को इस तरीके से फैलाया कि लोग डरे हैं ज्यादा, तो उस पे क्या समझते हैं सर आप?
Okay, it's scaring the people. So what's the use of here social media? How far it is justifiable?
Sorry, please repeat the question. Please.
Sir, I'm telling that social media is actually scaring the people with many fake news or very exaggerated news. Okay, so please, can you please comment on that?
Yes.
How far
Yes. Thank you. The question is okay.
Is it clear to you, sir? Question.
Yes. Question is clear. Okay.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Can you please hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The point is that actually social media is providing fake news, unauthentic news. That is true, but only rules cannot control everything, because in our country there are there is Digital Security Act and some other policy has also been formulated, but social media is an open platform, so many men can use and can provide many information and also misinformation, but we cannot delete all information. So the thing is that we have to be aware. So getting aware, we can save ourselves from such rumor and false information, fake information. We have to know the tools, how to verify the authentic information, to check the fake information. Through this process, we can save ourselves from fake or false information.
Krishna sir, is it clear to you?
Thank you, sir.
Krishna
Thank
sir,
you.
is it clear to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? You can unmute yourself and ask question.
I have a question to Dr. Biraj Mukherjee. Though I have typed it on the chat box, but I have been given the opportunity to ask, though not face to face, because I am muting my video. So my question is to Dr. Mukherjee that sir, do you think that the small town film and small budget filmmakers will have more acceptance in Bollywood after or post COVID-19 period?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you, Swami. Your question is small town film and small budget filmmaker will have more acceptance, but they already have. I mean, we have a history of small town film. I mean, not exactly small budget, but we do have small budget filmmakers who have been making films in the 70s as well. Take for example Basu Bhattacharya. Take for example Hrishikesh Mukherjee. How do you categorize them? They never went for big star cast. They never went for big budget films, but they do have a niche for themselves. In COVID-19 situation, it's a touch and go situation. Let's see what happens because the entire structure of the Indian film industry has gone for a toss. I mean, this is the only way I can see it. It's a very dire situation. If it continues for some more time, stars, of course, definitely they will have to cut down on their fees. You can't expect Salman Khan to charge 50 or 60 crore rupees for a single movie. That is completely out of the question. Now, if you're cutting down on movie budget, you will have to cut down on the stars' cost as well. And then you will have to look out for alternative streaming platforms. If I'm watching a movie on YouTube, or if I'm watching a movie on, let's be very honest, most of us watch movies, the pirated version rather.
Right.
You know it. So
right,
in this situation, what happens is it's, as I said, it's a completely touch and go situation. But of course, I mean, small town films will always have they have a very niche audience. They have a very niche audience. How many people would really like to go to a theater and watch Ayushmann Khurrana in a big budget movie? He, in fact, doesn't work in big budget movies.
Yes. That was the point I wanted to clarify. advice regarding the theatrical screening and small town film. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, is that okay? Any more question from the audience?
Yes, hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah, this is Kumar Nishant from Vishwabharati. So first of all, I have to thank all the three speakers for their wonderful presentation, Azad sir, Somu sir, and Miraj sir. I have two questions to Miraj sir. First one is, sir, as you mentioned out very rightly, that with the prevalence, with the emergence of COVID, all of us are forced to OTT platforms. We cannot go to the theaters. But the thing is that it has opened a window. If not, I'm wrong. If we are going to PVRs and other multiplexes, and people are paying for $200 or $300 for a movie ticket for a single show, I can have a subscription for $199, and which I can share the screen with 4 other people.
Yes.
So will this affect in the long run disrupt the theater system as such? This is my first question, because why not? I'm getting content, access to so many movies and content with the same money. This is my first question.
I got your first question. Yeah, I got your first question. What's your second question?
Okay, sir. Second question is, you mentioned about the post-catastrophe or pandemic situations before had warranted the emergence of new cinema, as in you mentioned about German expressionism and Italian neorealism. I mean, okay, so after Second World War, we see different kind of cinema erupt, emerge, and for good, which the world has learned from. Do we see a change in Indian, like you mentioned about, you give insights into that? Do we see anything like that happening in India, that for good, like we can shift to like that Anurag Kashyap kind of brand of cinema, so that we can make good, meaningful movies? Or do you think that we may fall back into that sci-fi, imaginary God we can take shelter in those kind of movies? So will this be a thrust in the good direction that you want to do?
Look, I think let the audience decide what is a good or a bad decision. As an audience, you see what you pay for. Ultimately, you are going to pay what you see. So, well, in that situation, I guess I wouldn't say that it's a step in the right direction or a step in the wrong direction. As of now, in the COVID situation, it's very difficult to go out and make a movie with Salman Khan. It's very difficult to go out and make a film with big film stars. You will see a lot of films with very small film actors, and of course, the streaming of movie will take place online. Well, in that situation, you cannot afford the return from broadcasting your films on television. The return is much less. If you're showing your movie, if you're broadcasting your movie on the net, the return is much less. There is much more scope for piracy. In that case, you have to go either for film stars who are going to slash off their money, whatever they're charging, or you're going to go for people like Ayushmann Khurrana, or people who are basically catering to Indian middle class, a much lower middle class kind of. For 199 rupees, you can watch n number of movies on the net. But I wouldn't go out to pay maybe around 300 to 400 rupees for a single movie. That is exactly, I am telling you, the return from the multiplex is not going to be good in the coming future. Whether they will survive this COVID-19, I don't know. If they do, fine, well and good. We will see the same. And don't forget that the audience, rather the spectatorship, is completely traumatized at the moment. Once we come out of this, I will see the same kind of cinema coming back to the fore. I hope I answered your question.
So my second question regarding the emergence of new kind of cinema, new brand of cinema in constant.
What's your good name?
Kumar Nishant, sir.
Nishanji, well, I feel that we are still in the midst of a COVID-19 crisis. Let us first come out of it. This is a traumatic event. Traumas take some time to become manifest in popular culture. This will take a little time. Maybe 6 months, 7 months down the line, you will have films that are dealing with COVID-19. But as of now, no one is even thinking of making movies.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, any more questions from the audience? Any more questions? question from the audience? Thank you, Miraj sir, for
Thank
this
you so much.
question answering session. Okay, so now we will proceed to our just at the vote of thanks. I will request Somik sir, please take over the session. Can you hear me, sir? Somik sir?
Yeah.
So you can take over the session, sir, for vote of thanks.
Yeah. I am visible and audible.
Yes, sir. You are.
Thank you everyone for acting for. Okay. So thank you everyone for actively taking part in this. This is by technical from
Somik sir, your audio is not clear. Somik sir, your audio is not clear.
We are very much.
Hello, Somik sir, can you hear me? Somik sir, can you hear me? Your audio is not clear, sir. Hello. Your voice is breaking. Somik, your voice is breaking. Yeah.
But that's probably due to the internet issue.
Okay.
Now I am audible.
Yeah, you are audible right now. Yeah, you are audible, sir.
Now is it okay? Fine. So let me switch off my video portion. I think due to this internet issue, my audio was not clear. So thank you to everybody. First of all, as I was in the middle of my vote of thanks. Okay, for patiently hearing to the resource persons despite the technical glitches, as because we are from different parts of the country as well as abroad, and as I said that we are very much familiar with this term called new normal. So let's consider this as new normal, quote unquote. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to all the resource persons, Dr. Miraj Mubariki sir, Dr. Shouma Dotto, and Professor Abul Kalam Azad sir for their erudite and very timely presentation, which will, I think, definitely help the aspiring researchers and the existing researchers to develop some, develop some new discourses in the field of communication studies at large. I would like to sincerely convey my thanks to the organizers for organizing such an important event at this point of time, which will definitely help the researchers to exchange some important thoughts. And last but not the least, the participants. This is the platform which has been actually designed for the aspiring researchers. Not only the research persons will talk, even the participants and aspiring researchers, you can also, I think, you communicated an email ID to which you can also drop your area of research interest, and if you want to do your presentation furthermore on your research area, you can definitely go for it. And accordingly, you'll be communicated in the coming episodes of this International Communication Researchers Meet. So thank you everyone for patiently hearing and joining together.
Hello. Okay, thank you Somik da. Okay, as we are winding up the session, okay, thank you very much. तो कुछ जो हिंदी स्पीकर से मैं उनके लिए बोल दूं कि शोधार्थियों के लिए ये बहुत सुनहरा अवसर है। ये प्लेटफॉर्म जो बनाया गया है शोधार्थियों के लिए खासकर बनाया गया है। तो हमारे अगले सेशन में जब भी वेबिनार हो आप लोग जरूर आए, ये मेरा अनुरोध है, क्योंकि ये आप लोग के लिए बनाया गया है। तो मेरा अनुरोध रहेगा आपसे, प्लीज सभी ज्वाइन करें, अपने पूरे उत्साह के साथ ज्वाइन करें, हमारे साथ कोऑपरेट करें। Thank you very much for attending this webinar. Thank you all the organizing committee, and thank you the convener, Professor Saddam Hussain, and all the resource persons, those who have joined. And unfortunately, Sumita ma'am couldn't join because she has fallen sick. We are expecting her in our next webinar. Thank you very much, you all.
Hello. I'm Vicky sir.
Yeah, say.
सर एक रिक्वेस्ट है, जितने भी पार्टिसिपेट है तो सबको ना एक व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में ऐड कर लो सर। और
व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में?
हाँ सर, मतलब एक ग्रुप चलता रहेगा और
हाँ।
मोस्टली मास कम्युनिकेशन के ही है इसमें, जहाँ तक मैंने देखा है अभी तक। तो सबके पास इंफॉर्मेशन पहुंचती रहेगी, कहीं भी सेमिनार होगा या कोई भी प्रोग्राम होगा। और सर हम तो वैसे भी पत्रकारिता के शोधार्थी हैं, तो ऐसा होना चाहिए।
बिल्कुल।
थैंक यू सर, ये सजेशन बहुत बढ़िया, ठीक है, क्योंकि बहुत अच्छा सजेशन है, सभी के लिए इंफॉर्मेटिव रहेगा ये। जब भी कुछ भी होगा, कोई भी वेबिनार होगा, सेमिनार होगा, यू विल कम टू नो अबाउट दिस। थैंक यू फॉर द सजेशन, वी विल राइट वर्क ऑन इट। या थैंक यू वेरी मच। एनी मोर सजेशंस, कमेंट्स? या we will just shortly give you the feedback link. Okay, feedback दे अपना। Okay, thank you very much. Saddam sir, do you want to say something? If you can hear us.
Yes, hello.
Yeah,
hello.
Saddam sir, please say.
Hello.
Yes sir.
Hello.
You are audible. Saddam sir,
Okay. Hello. Okay, there is a network issue actually.
Yes, Saddam sir, you are audible. Please speak up.
Yeah.
Hello.
Saddam sir, you are audible. Please speak up. Okay, check your network first. Sorry for the inconvenience we are causing for these technical glitches. Because the poor network, because we have the cloudy weather over here in some parts of West Bengal. Thank you very much for attending this session. I think Saddam is unable to join. Saddam sir, can you hear us? Has got disconnected. Okay, thank you very much for your patient listening, all of you. For all the resource persons, I would request you all that please join our next session whenever we are conducting. We are just looking for your presence over there. Please join our next session. Okay, we will try to invite far more speakers and speakers from national or international borders. We'll try to include all of them, and we'll have our interesting sessions in our next webinar whenever it is conducted. And for all the participants, let me inform you all that those who have participated, you will get the e-certificates, okay, within a week. So that you will join again, okay, again and again, to make us feel warm and good. Yeah, we will inform you all via mail, because you have all registered. We have already your mail IDs, so we will inform you all. As somebody has commented and suggested that we will make a group. So in that group, we will inform you all, or if it is possible, we will send the individual messages. Yeah. Okay. Thank you all. So I am just winding up and closing up the session. Thank you all. Thank you all resource persons. Thank you very much, sir, for your honorable presence. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Stay fine, stay safe. Okay?
Yeah.
Stay fine. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Thank you, Ajat sir. Thank you, Miraj sir. Thank you, Somadatta sir. Thank you very much for your presence here. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Please come in the next webinar, sir. Please join and warm the session, please. So I'm disconnecting, sir. Prakash, I will request you. Is it audible? Am I audible, Prakash? Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm closing up the session, right? Prakash, can you hear me?
मैं सुन रहा हूँ.
Okay, I'm closing up the session. Close कर रहा हूँ session को.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, all of you.